Hi there. My name is Nick Kaufmann. I am community manager at a startup called In Situ. We use augmented reality to turn spatial plans and development proposals into on-site, real-scale experiences to make it easier to talk about how cities are changing with the communities in cities. So lately, folks in my industry, XR, VR, AR, we've been sort of like sidelined by the AI hype. And so one of the things that we say a lot is that XR is going to be the interface for AI. I don't think a lot of people know exactly what that means. But in terms of like maps, I think it's fairly straightforward to think about how that might happen. So I want to share a little bit about sort of what we're doing, and mostly as an open question to the OSM community about how might XR become part of the interface that we're using when we're updating like an open source map. We don't do this today, except we do use some OSM data in our base map, but this is very much like a question to everyone, and I hope to start a conversation around it. And so there's been a lot of change recently in the industry in terms of the rise of more real-time 3D tools, more web-based tools. I'm sure you're aware of some of that. And we see more talk about planners that are being asked to be a lot more flexible in bringing communities together around projects. Just last week, you might have seen a lot of news around like large spatial models and companies like Niantic, and we've got Overture here in Meta all releasing more technology to be able to create 3D maps. And one of the ways we use them is to locate 3D objects in space for an AR visualization. And so a lot of our business is based around showing projects on the street, and our pipeline kind of looks like this, where we take data like permits and put them on location and view them through augmented reality through your smartphone or your tablet. And that's a big part of how civic engagement works today with public notification projects. But increasingly, what we're experimenting with is how might we not just build projects to augmented reality, but also create projects through augmented reality to the map. And so I just want to share a little bit about some of the projects we've been doing. So today we can show a proposal this way to people, but what if you could also collaborate this way? And what are the standards that we would need to be able to accept like an augmented reality edit to a map, like the OSM map? I've heard of some projects like Simple 3D. If anyone's involved in that stuff to be able to add 3D models to OSM, I'd be interested to talk. So what if our pipeline was more two-way, and you could increasingly use peripherals to interact with your environment and publish changes or ideas from the built environment to a 3D map? So we've been experimenting with doing some workshops, teaching zoning data, 3D zoning envelopes, using them as props to create physical models, and then scan them with photogrammetry to be able to view them on site at real scale and understand sort of intuitively how zoning and floor area ratio work. We've been doing placemaking workshops with local community organizations to generate ideas with blocks and clay and store those ideas as dreams that are pinned in space to a particular park. That's still very much a one-way thing. It would be cool if we could store those ideas somewhere. And so I think of this process as having a big potential for like empowering people to be able to think that they can change their environment, not just map the existing conditions. I'm curious if anybody's involved in thinking about this as well. And if you want to reach out to me, you can find me at LinkedIn. I think the slide is hidden. That's me. Thank you.